So good evening, everyone. This is Andy Shepherd with another Your Success Now teleconference. People are basically listening from all over the world. This is very exciting. I've got people, so there's some of you who are going to be listening on the recording, and because they're in Europe. I've got people listening to me in the UK, so hello everybody in the UK. There's people listening to me in Germany, so hello people in Germany. People in Romania, hello everybody in Romania. Obviously there's people in various states in America, so hello America. I'm just imagining that I can hear you talking to me. Thought I'd make this a little bit more interesting this time. So if you like to, you can start responding and say, hi, Andy. So this week we're going to be talking about how to find your life purpose. So I want to make this one a little bit more fun, like I said. So I'm going to get you to pretend that you can hear me. So if you're in the earshot of anybody, maybe you just want to mime or imagine that you're saying hello or yes or something like that. So is that okay, everybody? So I'm kind of hallucinating. I'm imagining that you're saying yes to me. So the reason that I'm doing this is, like I said, because it'll be a bit more interesting. And also, as I'm saying things, if you're really getting a kind of a link to it, I would recommend that you give some kind of response. Because from a neuro-linguistic point of view, what you're doing is you're actually putting it into your nervous system, so it's going in at a deeper level. So I hope that's okay with everybody. And I'm imagining at this point that you're saying yes. In future sessions, I'm not sure if I'll get it set up for next week, but the week after, definitely, this will be a webinar. I want to move to this platform because then you've got the, if you just want to listen to me on the phone, you can do that. But if you want to be more interactive, then we can do that, and I can start asking you questions and you can respond. So it'll be a bit more fun. So we've got more flexibility that way. And also I can share with you a whole bunch of slides, so that should be pretty neat. So what are we going to do this time? For me, this is one of the most powerful teleconferences, and I'm very excited to be doing it. Are you excited too? I'm imagining that you're saying yes. We're going to really rock and roll this one. So we're going to learn lots of new things here. So today is a pretty scorching day here in LA, and I'm imagining wherever you are, it's pretty hot as well. So, as I said to you, my name is Andy Shepherd. I'm a transformational specialist. If you like, I'm a kind of a life coach. I work as a success coach. I work with transformation. I've been working since 2009. It's been my privilege to work with hundreds of people, helping them get better relationships, helping them get better income, helping them get better lives, helping them to get from places they don't want to be to places they want to be, helping people from basically roadblocks and things that have happened in the past which shouldn't have happened, and undoing all of that and putting it all in its right place, and then helping them to move forward and getting some great breakthroughs through that. I've had the absolute privilege and honor to work with people from every walk of life, Emmy Award winners, up-and-coming actors, models, singers, housewives, solopreneurs, highly successful business people, millionaires, etc., etc. It's been fabulous. So the first thing I want to say is, do you realize that each and every one of us is capable of doing something so incredibly magnificent, something that could absolutely blow the mind of every being here? We each and every single one of us has this potential. If you look at it from a physical point of view, if we look at our bodies, we have this amazing mechanism for transporting us around. So we use this for walking around. We use this for all sorts of things. And one of the most powerful parts of our body is our brain. And with our brain, we can do some pretty phenomenal things. I talked to you in the first couple of sessions about the power of the mind, and I talked about this physical realm being very confusing, because we see Einstein says that E equals mc squared, and gave a reference between energy and matter and the two things being interrelated. And basically, without going over what I've talked about previously, we definitely have a power of the mind. And this power, when used correctly, can do fantastic things and build empires and build amazing skyscrapers, for example, and features of engineering and shuttlecraft to take us to. Sorry, I'm thinking Star Trek here. We can have space rockets and to take us to the moon and come back again, and phenomenal things. But when the mind's not used correctly, then we can get into depression and lots of dreadful things can happen. So this is the powerful power of the mind. And when you think about it, if you look at it just from a physical point of view, it seems that a healthy brain is like any other healthy brain. So what is the difference between these two things? A healthy brain which is doing great things, and one which is not doing so great things. Well, I need to keep this fairly short. This has been mentioned in probably in the first teleseminar, so go back to that or call me. You can talk to me in Facebook or send me an email, and I'll send you a recording of it. And it's all down to our conditioning, and this is something that, for example, Pavlov proved. He proved that animals are conditioned, and basically we're conditioned as well. So things that have happened in our life have conditioned us to be who we are and to have the abilities to do what we do. There are also some things that have happened in the past which have acted a bit like a virus, because if you think of a computer, you could have if you've got a virus in the computer, it doesn't matter how amazing the computer is, and it doesn't matter how amazing the programs are, the virus will completely destroy it. And this is what happens with us. We can have kind of some incidents that have happened in the past which just keep running and stop us from our true potential. So one also thing that I want to talk about is about the rat race. I am completely against the rat race. So what is the rat race? I'm sure we all know it. But my vision of the rat race is that we start off life and maybe we just get a job and we're enjoying that, and we start making some money, and that's pretty cool. And then we start looking at our peers. We look at other people and we find that they are getting people at the same level as us, or people around us. They're kind of doing a little bit better, and they've got better things than us. They've got a better car, or they've got a better television, or a better telephone, or a cell phone, or whatever. And we feel as if we should do that. And if you think about it, I mean, there is kind of a standard to life which we joke about, which I don't know what it's like in this country, but in the UK we say you're supposed to have 2.2 kids and a certain type of house and a certain type of car and a certain level of stature, a certain amount of income, and one kind of luxury holiday per year, and then you've achieved it. You've made it in life. And this is the point of what the rat race is doing, when we're following other people and what we think is should be our level when we've reached a level in society. Now, a lot of us say, well, I'm not doing that. Yes, great. Maybe you're not, but there's still a kind of a pressure there to do this. And there's always a pressure from advertising to not be happy with the old things, and we need to buy something new. And what happens is when we decide we're going to get something new, well, we then have to start working harder. And so when we work harder, we've got more stress. And so we think, well, I'm just need a new phone, and that's going to make me feel better. So we get a new phone. And then we think, oh, I'm working really hard. And so maybe if I get myself a new 2K type of television, not, one of these newfangled LED 50-inch or something, that's going to make me happy. And then you get that, and you buy a whole bunch of other toys and stuff and put some of it on your credit card, and you think, oh, it's okay, I'll pay this off by the end of the month. But then something happens, like maybe you've got to go to a conference, and you need to go and buy a suit or something, and what ends up starting off as being $300 ends up being like $1,000, because maybe the guy who's selling the suit to you upgrades the suit, and you're going to get something a bit more designer, and he throws in a few shirts and a few tie, and well, you need to have a new pair of shoes as well, and things just start escalating. So then, to get you out of your debt, you need to start working harder and earn more money, and then you're getting, you can see how it's just going on and on and on. So this is the rat race. So we need to get out of this. We need to have control of our life. And, one thing that I've seen in so many of the people that I've been working with is that life controls us. We just need to change 2 words around, just make this completely different and say that we control life. And how many of us can honestly, truly say that we have control over life to do whatever we want to do? And I realize that we do have a lot of commitments to do things. We're married, we've got kids perhaps, or we've got financial commitments because of our car and our house or whatever, etc., etc. But I do believe that when we take this ownership and say that we are going to take control of our lives and not let life control us, instead of saying this is inevitable, this is the way it has to be, it doesn't have to be that way. We can change things. We can make a difference. And at that point, you will start making a difference. The thing that horrifies me is a statistic that I heard quite a while ago, and I'll admit I can't remember it very accurately, but I think it was something as high as 85% of all Americans don't realize their dreams, their life dreams, within their lifetime. And to me, this is a monumental disaster. And I don't want any of you to be one of those people, and I'm sure you don't as well. It's like a lot of us are just, because we're letting life control us, we've got all sorts of things that we really, really want to do. And we keep putting it off. We'll say, okay, I'll wait till my retirement, or I'll wait until I earn this amount of money. And some people say, well, if I had the lottery, I'd do this. Win the lottery, I'd do this or do that. It's like, no. We need to do some goal setting and decide that we're going to go out and do it. So why I'm saying all of this, it seems that I'm kind of getting off the subject a bit, but I'm not. Because the biggest decision that you can make is to follow your life purpose. This is something that I spent a big chunk of my life not knowing and thinking that I knew. And I'll share with you a few examples of some false beliefs that I thought I'd achieved it, and actually I hadn't. And so I often hear people that I meet or chat with on Facebook or coach, and they really believe that they found it. But I don't know. I kind of got this link with people, and I can just feel whether it's right or wrong. I mean, I know that sounds kind of weird, but I've just got to, I think that we can go with our feelings more. We know when something feels right or it feels wrong. And usually if something feels right, it generally is. And if it feels wrong, then it generally is wrong as well. So that's definitely something to consider there. Just bear with me a minute. I'm just having a little technical problem here. So like I say, finding my life purpose totally changed my life. I'll give you a few examples. One bad reason, I thought that my life purpose, part of my life purpose was to be in love with somebody and, to settle down. And yes, that should be part of something that we should do. It's a kind of a goal to get. So I had an excellent job in the UK. I worked for a big company called Digital Equipment Company. It started off as a repair engineer. 12-year career. I ended up working as a software engineer, and I ended up running the back office for AstraZeneca, 1,200 users. There were 2 of us who oversaw all of it, and we kept everything running from the hardware to the software, installation, all of it. I got a great job. I got my own car, Mercedes, good salary, fantastic. I met this woman. She turned my head, and I went and followed my dream. Basically, when I got there, the only thing that I could do was to teach English. I didn't want to do what I was doing before, so I got kind of caught up in it, in teaching. So because of me being what they call a native speaker, I was very saleable there, and things kind of got out of hand, and I ended up going from teacher to opening a school. It seemed to be by accident. There was a point where I was working in a company and they needed me to the same hours to teach 2 classes. So I got somebody else to help. And things just were growing and growing, and I was teaching from my apartment and ended up renting a room next to it, and that became a school. And then from then I thought, well, I was climbing up and down 3 flights of stairs to let people in. And if I got 8 students, each one of them, none of them would turn up at the same time. So I had to go down 3 flights of stairs, get them to come in, and as soon as I got to the top, the buzzer would go again. I got to go downstairs. This was just not on. So I got another place. I got 2 classrooms in, and boom, I got a school. So I did pretty well out of that. I thought I was kind of successful because all the time in my life I wanted to help people. So that was kind of fulfilling part of that. But it wasn't all of it. I just wasn't satisfied. And, Brazil was a beautiful place. There's a lot of beauty there. I like the people there. There's the beaches, the nature. Everybody's very friendly. It was pretty hot. I had a really good life there. I was on local radio. I'd advertised on TV. Even had a great big billboard advertising the school. And as part of my marketing, I branded myself because I called the school Mr. Brit after myself, a British person, and that seemed to work well. So I put a picture of myself to give authenticity to it. I gave all of that, let all of that go when I realized my life purpose, which is to be a speaker, a life coach, to be an author. So the process of how I got there is what we're going to be talking to today, because making that decision of giving everything up in Brazil and coming out here to Los Angeles, for anybody else looking at it, they go, how could you do that? I had a successful school. I had an amazing brand new apartment with everything in there, everything brand new. It was a very beautiful place. I got a most fantastic beaches like paradise, like an hour and a half drive away. I got a fantastic life, but I just wasn't fulfilled. I wasn't fulfilling the purpose that I was put on this planet for, in my opinion. So, this is, I'm not saying that making the decision sometimes is going to be, once you've gone into it, you're going to find that everything is easy. There are some hardships there, but that's kind of irrelevant when you know that you're on the right track. I mean, you've heard the story of many struggling, like many actors and famous artists and so on. There were points where they really, really had a lot of difficulty, but I just kept focusing on where I want to be. When I arrived in America, things were pretty difficult for me. There was a major cash flow problem at some point because the sale of the school didn't go the way that it should have done, and the whole bunch of money just wasn't paid to me. So this caused me a lot of problems, but I just kept going. I had kind of like a mantra, and the mantra was like this: I, Andrew William Shepherd, see, hear, feel, and know that I am unstoppable. And that just keeps me going all the time, because once I've focused on something, I just keep going. Just keep going and just keep going. Making course corrections, but just focus on the end result. I've even, as part of it, I've made, knowing where I'm supposed to be, even down to the fact of I've had projects where I could have earned millions of dollars and followed people who could have, were pretty going in a position where they were with lots of people who are very famous in the limelight, and I could have met them and been with them, but it just wasn't following my life path. So, and I'm not saying there's something I'm not saying there's something wrong with money and I don't want money, but I just know that what I'm doing is right. And once I've linked in with it, well, the money could flow. Who knows? But that's not the important thing. It's that I'm fulfilled in what I'm doing. So now I'm basically joyfully happy. I love what I do. And when I start helping people and doing stuff that is outside of my core, of who I am, my purpose of being here, I'm probably not so happy. So basically, I want you to join in this happiness. I want you to be happy too. Basically, before I tell you how you can find what your life purpose is, I'm just going to show you how you can get there when you have found it. Because I know this kind of seems as if it's the wrong order, but, I know a lot of people who are basically just giving up their dreams and letting go of it because they just don't know how they can achieve it, how they can get there. And I must admit there's been a lot of things in the past that I didn't achieve because it's almost as if a lot of us have been taught that if you haven't got a plan of action on how to implement something, then don't even bother going out and finding it, and don't even bother try and make it happen. And this is not the way to be successful. The greatest succeeders in life, the people who've done monumentally huge things, I promise you, did not know how they were going to do it. They might have had a rough idea, but all they knew was this determination: I will do it, I will achieve it. They knew what their end goal was, and they just said, I will get there. As Jack Canfield puts it very beautifully, if you're going to travel, say, from New York to Los Angeles at night, really all you need to know is the next 100 feet in front of you, which your car headlights are illuminating. That's all you need to know. Basically you'll see a signpost along the way, and, if you've got a GPS, even better, it'll just tell you each time you need to make an adjustment to turn where you should be. And it's as simple as that. So we just need to know what is 100 yards in front of us, whether we're going to be going to the left or the right or just keep going straight ahead, and just have the faith that you will be able to get there. Now, the incredible thing is that, like I say, if we can just stop just for a moment, just stop thinking about this being a physical world and just maybe admit that there could be something bigger, that the universe really is conspiring to help us, and that whatever our wishes are, when our mind is focused on something, then a path will be shown to us. Now, there's different explanations of why this is. There's a part of the brain which could be actually reticular activation center, could be actually watching minute things which are normally unseen and showing us that path. Or it could be that the universe, that God or whoever is giving us the things that we want. Whatever it is, from my personal experience, I can just promise you that it does work. And so at the end of the day, whenever you're trying something new, you need to believe that it's possible. So, and you need to have faith in the person who is delivering whatever it is. An example would be about being a child and not knowing how to swim. The person who's teaching you how to swim, you need to believe that it's possible to swim first of all. It's easy. You can see other people swimming, so you've got proof that it's possible. And then you need to have faith that the coach who's teaching you or the teacher who's teaching you is going to actually get you to swim, and you're not going to drown and die and something horrible like that. So it's the same process with anything new that we do. So I'd say, if we're talking about how we can get the most out of life, I'd like to give you a list of 11 stages to this. Okay, so the first stage is that you need to dream, and I like to dream big, because if you're going to dream, then you might as well make it a big dream. Sometimes you're going to put in the same effort for something that's small as something that's big. So why not do something that's big? There's something pretty life-changing. Well, you can change some small things as well. And remember, all of this is going to be relevant because I'm going to show you this technique, which you can put on anything. And once you find your life purpose, then you can use the same stages and put that on the getting the most out of your life as well, to put it on your life purpose. The second thing is to just believe that it's possible to achieve. So from that, like with the swimming example, you just need to look at other people who've done it. And remember the time that you were doubting it and doubted that it was true, and then finding that it was believable. The biggest change in my life that was made was, I remember there were a couple of things that happened when I was 18. The first thing was we had something called A-levels, which is your SATs to get you into university. Now, I failed it the first time. I was so nervous, but I'm just terrible at exams, and I have my blockages about that, and I know what it is, and I've worked on it. That's another story. And the second thing was I failed my driving test as well because I was nervous. Now, I talked to a guy in his 60s, and he said something amazing to me. He said, I know that you're going to pass your driving test. I promise you're going to do that. And when there's going to be a day when you're driving around in your car effortlessly, and it's very, very easy, and you're going to look back and you're going to look at this conversation and think, why did I ever doubt it? Why did I ever doubt that I could pass the test? And when I'm in times of difficulty, I think back to this moment because I know that I did pass the test. And, driving has become second nature to me. It's effortless. I can go down the freeway and multitask, do lots of things as well as drive, and we won't go into that. But I'm sure you know what I mean. For example, I could be drinking a drink while I'm driving it. Yes, a drink of soda or water or whatever. So the next part of it is, apart from belief, is to have faith that you can do it. Now, they may seem similar, but faith is just something that is even deeper. It's something that is really certain that you're going to be able to do it. So once you've got faith, then it's going to be faith that maybe the universe or God is going to help you, or that you really have this inner power which is going to get you to achieve. So then the fourth stage is that you connect to the source of that faith. So you connect to the universe, you connect directly to God, you connect to the power within you. Stage 5 is to just take the leap, just go and do it. And then after that, become unstoppable. Just, course correct, and basically don't stop until you've reached your goal. When I say course correct, I say this because, for example, if I'm flying from Los Angeles and I'm going to go to the UK, then because of the wind blowing me in a different direction, majority of time, even if I'm on an autopilot or the whole thing is programmed in, I'm going to be going diagonal because of the wind, and oftentimes I'm just going to be blown off course because the wind is changing all of the time. So I'm going to course correct. I'm going to change direction a little bit, and a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, or starboard port if you prefer, whatever. And eventually I'm going to get there. And that's for sure. And that's what we have to do in our life. We have to just keep making course corrections. Some of these course corrections are going to be more radical than others, but you just keep making them. A very important part of the process to give you fuel to get there is to celebrate each win, no matter how small along the way. So whatever you do, it's like, I made the course correction. Pat yourself on the back. Great. This is giving you a bit of neural conditioning here, conditioning yourself. Yes, great. And once you keep doing that, you're going to do more. The worst thing is, I remember in the UK, nobody ever used to say, that's a great job you did. They would do the opposite. It's like, why did it take you so long? Or, couldn't you have done that better? Or, well, that's nothing. I could have done that in my sleep. And, I'm not surprised that it's a pretty depressing place to live in, or at least the environment I was. It was like really dog-eat-dog. So, I love being here because people are much more positive, at least the friends that I hang out with. I hang out with a lot of people who are like-minded, who like me, follow people like Bob Proctor, Jack Canfield, Esther Hicks, Tony Robbins, etc. And so we do say, great, you did a fantastic job there, and all of this, and we're all into this patting ourselves on the back to celebrate and building it into our nervous system. I really recommend that. Stage 8 is to enjoy the journey. We all focus on the end result, and we get so caught up with this end result and focusing on that we forget that basically we should enjoy the journey, enjoy the process, because once you've finished, you're going to have a celebration, maybe having a big party, and maybe you can open a few bottles of champagne or something non-alcoholic in my case, and invite all your friends round, or might even go on a holiday. But at the end of the day, that's going to wear off. It's not going to be long-lasting. But if you can enjoy the process of getting there, then that's great. I mean, you've got more enjoyment out of life, haven't you? So that's got to be fantastic. I remember I told you about my English school in Brazil. I really did enjoy every part of the process there. It was fantastic. I loved what I was doing. When I was changing the color scheme within the school, I loved that process. If I was doing creating a new website and changing the logos, I loved that. And making my own advert, which I put on radio or put on. I even went on national television. I created my own advert, got somebody to film it for me, and did the whole thing. It was just absolutely stupendous, and I celebrated every single stage of the journey and really, really enjoyed it. So this was just so fantastic. So number 9 will be the journey is much more important than the achievement. Once you can realize that, then you're really, really going somewhere. So at the end of it, when you've done it, then you've got stage 10, which is to have your celebration. And stage 11 will be move on to the next and repeat all of the above. So I'll be honest with you, this is probably a 9 or 10 step process, but I just made it 11 because I believe that you'll probably be going on to the next one as well. So would anybody out there like to hear the process? So I'm just imagining that you're all going, yes, Andy, I'd really love to hear the process. So excuse me for doing this because basically, I just thought it'd be a bit more fun if there's some kind of interaction here. Next time, maybe I'll get you to all to type in yes or a little Y or something when we go into a webinar. The process is as follows. And I mean, basically, I'm going to talk about the process here, but I'll admit to you, I'm really hopeful that you decide to do this process with me and take me and let me coach you through this, because there are so many parts of this process that can be a little bit tricky and give you a few false directions. You might think you've got it and maybe you haven't. And as I coach you through the process, then this will be much better. And so as I give you this presentation and talk through the next part of it, I'm hoping that basically you're going to come to 3 conclusions about me. The first conclusion, there's not hopefully, basically there's 3 possibilities of this. The first one is that after hearing this presentation and hearing what I've got to say, you're going to be thinking, Andy, yes, definitely, I'm ready to coach. You're the person for me. I'm not going to concern myself about how much it's going to cost, because I'm sure it's going to be something that's affordable, and I'm sure that it's something that's we're going to work out a strategy to get the pricing plan. So I'm ready to move forward and let's talk. So you'll either email me or you'll put something in Facebook. The second possibility is, well, Andy, I'm very interested in what you're saying, but I've just got a couple of questions about this, and I just want to check out a few things and just see whether this is the right process for me. So we can have like a discovery call, or maybe we can have even I can give you a demonstration and give you some kind of coaching call, which will be a pleasure. The third option is that you think I'm a complete charlatan, I haven't got a clue, Tony Robbins is a crazy guy, and you don't want anything to do with me. And by now you're probably not even listening to me, and I'm just going to cry and be upset and never get over it. I'm joking, of course I'm going to get over it. So if you're still with me, I'm sure it's either 1 or 2. So let's go through the process. So the process, I'll admit, this is something that is based on Tony Robbins. This is what I used. It's from Get the Edge. Okay, so this is a product which really, really helped me a lot. And so the process I'm talking about is, I'll take you through now, give you a rough idea of it. So you think back to when you are between 5 and 10 years old, and you think about what you wanted to do. And so you go through a process of writing down all of the things that I'm talking about here. So why did you want to be whatever it is you wanted to be? You think about who were your role models at that time. Then this is really key, important. What was the feeling you were hoping to get from it? What was the feeling you were hoping to get from it? What were the feelings and sensations? Okay, so in the first teleconference, I was talking about when you buy a Rolls Royce, in reality, it's about the feeling that that Rolls Royce is going to give you and is going to get you that is the most important part of it, really, and that's the reason that you buy it. You can turn around and say, well, it's the status and all the rest of it, but it's like, well, how does a Rolls Royce make you feel? And then I gave a comparison and said, well, you know, if you had an old VW Beetle, one of the original types, when you drove that around, that's going to basically give you a different type of feeling. So a lot of the things that we do is because it's like the feeling that something's going to give you. Okay, so this is very, very, very key to all of this. So basically, I'll tell you a little bit about the process that I went through to find what my life purpose was. So as I going through this process, it really clarified it to me. So when I was a child, I was always analyzing myself. I loved doing that. But also, I was a sort of person who would always be trying to help other people, and I'd always be fascinated by what they were thinking and what process they were going through. So I would go through a process of analyzing them as well. And so I would talk to them and find out about them and analyze them, and then whatever was about them, I'd look inside of myself and see if any of that was happening in me. And then there was kind of like a to and fro here. The more I understood myself, the more I understood the other person. The more I understood the other person, the more I understood myself. And that was fascinating. Now, as a coach, this is quite a big process that we go through. And every coach, to be authentic and be good at what they do, then obviously the best way to do it is to practice on yourself. So, I mean, it's better than being a doctor, because if you want to be a surgeon or something, you know, you can say, okay, I'm just going to go and try open heart surgery. Oh, I'll go and practice on myself. So you anesthetize yourself and that's it, game over. You can't continue. But if you're a coach, then you can do this in a safe environment. So, okay, so I'll take that image out of your head. Maybe that wasn't such a clever thing to talk about, but never mind. The other things that I was fascinated by was also, I thought about being a policeman, and that didn't really last for very long, because I thought, you know, I'm not a kind of person who is, I know that you're going to get into trouble some of the time, and there's going to be a violent aspect to this, so that's not my kind of cup of tea, because I'm a bit of a pacifist, not into violence at all. The next thing that I thought about was being a doctor, but I can't stand the sight of blood, so, you know, that's not going to work either. So, you know, I went through various stages. So, I mean, basically from this, really I want to help people. Even thought about being a fireman, because that was like helping and saving people's lives. So, I remember, like, I thought that the purpose, I didn't realize about purposes of life, and that was possible. But at one point, before I got my first really good job, I thought about being a white van driver. So what does that mean? It was meant being a courier, because the one thing that I loved doing was traveling. I thought, well, if you're a courier, you get to travel quite a bit. Well, only local, so that's not too good. But I love music, so I love the idea of being able to play my stereo as loud as I want and not bug anybody. And yeah, I thought that could be pretty neat. Well, I got a good job eventually. I worked at DEC because I was a repair engineer, so I got to travel all over, you know, kind of like a 100-mile radius of where I lived, and sometimes further. I went to other cities as well and do special training courses in Scotland and London and things like this, which was fantastic. So that was a great job, and I put the best stereo system in there, and I wanted to help people. Well, by repairing their computer, I was helping them, so I got some form of satisfaction out of that. So basically, that just wasn't enough. So, you know, I realized that I needed more than this. And so going through this process, I found that I really needed to do something much more than that. I mean, I talked about moving to Brazil, and that was like kind of like by an accident, and that's why I wasn't happy there. I wasn't fulfilling all of my needs. So I'm hoping that what I'm saying to you so far is making some sense to you. So some of the things, for example, that Tony was talking about was he talked about he wanted to be a rock star, and the reason he wanted to do that was because he wanted to entertain people. He wanted to change people's state and stuff like this. And also he always wanted to help people. And when I was going through the process, Tony just talks about different things. And I started really aligning with what he was saying. And I thought, dang, have I listened to this guy so much that I'm just copying him? And that kind of really, really worried me. And I negated it until I just thought, I decided, no, this really, really is my vocation. This is what I want to do. And so I let it happen. So the process is to go through that, is to really look at what you were doing when you were 5 to 10 years old and look at what the feeling was and just do this over and over again. So as you link into the universe and follow what you're supposed to do, everything will flow as if by magic. So, like I said to you before, I talked about me being a coach. So I'm just going to very quickly talk about that before I go into opening the call up and seeing if anybody's got any questions. So the things that I work with are I help people to release their blockages. So, you know, I'm kind of like an antivirus, if you like. You know, we've got little programs running through out of us which are really not doing much good at all. I also help you with accountability. So people don't like goal setting. I know that's a dirty word, and as soon as I say that, you know, you're probably all going to run away screaming. But at the end of the day, if you're not goal setting, where are you going? They did all sorts of surveys, and people who left school with an action plan of where they were going to be in 5 and 15 and 25 years were the people who were, there was like a 3% of the people who were leaving school who did this, if I remember some statistics correctly. And they were the people who were actually really making a go of life and really being successful and, doing great things and making a lot of money and achieving what they wanted to. So this is hugely, hugely important. So after the goal setting, the thing that's really, really important is that I can take you there quicker. So I'm an expert in law of attraction. So I will show you things that basically from the film The Secret, it talks about how we can make this happen. We can make this law of attraction work. And I'll tell you parts which we're actually missing out of that. The other thing is that I think almost got like a sixth sense. So I can intuitively find things which are going to really propel you to the results much quicker. And the final thing I'd like to say to you is that I'm authentic as a coach. That I'm not going to tell you about anything that I've not tried myself. Or if I do, I will say to you that on very rare occasions, I've seen this happen, but I've not tried it myself. But that is something you can try. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open up the microphone. So if anybody's got a question, now is your time. So hello there, folks. So has anybody got any questions? Hello? Anybody out there? Is Penny still there? Okay, so I don't know whether anybody else is still on this call. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to wrap this session up. So I hope that everybody's got benefit from this and found this interesting and useful. And basically, I would love to help you through this process. So next week we're going to be talking about how to escape doing what you don't want to do, and escape being where you don't want to be. So that is next week's teleconference. So many thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time. And as I always say,
Andy.
Hi. Who's speaking?
This is Cliff.
Oh, hi, Cliff. Hi there, Cliff.
I've got some questions, but what I'll do is to put them on. I'm probably a little bit better at thought when I'm at my computer. So let me see if I can get some questions over to you and ask some advice. Maybe pick your brains a little more. You already did a bunch of brain exercises tonight, so appreciate that and thank you.
That's my pleasure. Yeah, I mean, if you wish, then we'll talk further on Facebook. If you want to email me, I'm at andy@shepherdcoaching.com. That's SHEPHERD coaching.com, one word. Or let's chat on Facebook, and if you like, we can have either a little a discovery call, a chat, or maybe even a kind of a little coaching session. I can give you that, free of charge, and that'll be awesome.
All right. Well, I thank you so much from my part here in nice and warm Lake Havasu, Arizona.
Yeah, I bet it's getting pretty roasty up there. We've got 101 here in Los Angeles. What have you got?
I was right close to that today, but you guys have got some more heat coming in from those fires.
That's true. Yeah, a friend of mine's down in Castleblatt, and he said it's like there's a lot of fires there. So yeah, that's a shame.
Yes, it is. But there's something good in it. I don't know what it's going to be, but there's going to be something good out of it.
Well, my friend Robert's saying that there's a lot of people who, whose houses have been kept safe, so they've been protected. So that's good.
Right.
And at the end of the day, I really believe in whatever happens, we have to transform it. So it's like, if we've got a fire happening, we need to realize, well, how fortunate we are. If we escape the fire, then to realize how fortunate we are with our lives, and that we've been able to save, and if we have to go through the terrible thing of going through the fire, which I would hate would happen to anybody, but then to kind of, just say, what is good about this? I did, I've lost my belongings, but what's more important about my life? Some people could have something life-changing that happened and says, it's my family that counts, or thank God I've got my health, or my job sucks, and why am I doing that? And I should go and do something else. I'm not happy, or, now that I've lost. Exactly.
You can always rebuild, Andy.
Exactly. And it might, you never know. Sometimes it might be the impetus for them to go to a better place. Yeah, to go and maybe it's freed them up, and they say, wow, now I've got my freedom. I don't need this house. And I can go and live in any country, in every city or any state that I want to. I can change my job now. Now I'm released from this. Yes, I did.
You did that, Andy. So.
That's right. and really, it's like, I would hate this to happen to anybody. So, I just want to say that anybody who has lost their house, this is very traumatic, and I don't wish for that to happen. But it's like, if something does happen, then we have to make something positive out of it, I think. That's my.
I watched a race where, and it was just on the Facebook, where a little article where a girl was in a race. And she fell down. She was in the lead. And she fell down halfway through the race. Got up. Now, she's fallen down. She gets up and she struts out and wins in the second time, or before the race is over. She pulls it off from being dead last on the ground and is able to go ahead and do it. And I thought that was awesome, and I've passed that around to a number of people.
Yeah, I've seen that video as well and got very inspired by it. I think by the end of it, it had me in tears because I just looked at my life and said, you know, what are you saying? You know, this person was like dead last, injured, and through the determination, they just made it.
She didn't quit.
She didn't quit, and that's what it's all about. You know, whenever I watch sport, I don't watch too much sport, but one thing I do love is athletics. I love running and I love tennis, and I love the mind game, the mindset that people are going through to get them to where they need to get them to be a winner, and it's so clear to see, and I get inspired by that. That's great. Well, thank you so much for being on the call. I don't know where, I think everybody else has probably forgotten how to switch their phone back on to talk. They'll probably put it on mute. So I look forward to you talking to me on Facebook, and I look forward to talking to everybody the same time next week. Okay?
All right. Thank you, Andy. Thank you. You have a great weekend upcoming.
Thank you. You too. Thank you, my friend. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.